snap, we are back. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness. I sorry it took me so long to come back, even though nobody probably watches this, but that's fine. Um, it's it's been a bit. Our Ethernet kind of fumbled. We had Wi-Fi, but that was about it. Really tragic. Where's the screen here? Oh boy. That ought to be fun. Okay, anywho, so the title of this, what am I thinking? Good lord, I'm really living up to the name, aren't I? So, the purpose of this talk, I guess, was gonna be going into like my story, how I got into painting. I recently saw a YouTuber who was like, art's this weird global elitist thing and it's really hard to get into because of all this other stuff. And like, on one hand, yeah. I mean, yeah, like art is used to laundry money. So that kind of blows. But I mean, hey, it's not all bad. I actually have pieces in an art gallery right now. And it's honestly been really nice. And it's been a long journey into getting there. Also, connections. No matter what you do in life, knowing people goes so far. It is so important to reach out and get to know people. The only reason I even am in the gallery I am now was because I know the president as well as other members of that gallery before. So that's definitely helped. And yeah. So let's say you're watching this because you want to learn how to this music's too loud, isn't it? Okay, I'm gonna turn that off. Oh no, the silence. Anywho, so you're probably thinking, I want to get into art. How do I even start? And there's two different types of it. You have the short and the long, right? With everything. So short answer is pick up a rock and start scratching concrete. Congratulations, you're doing art. um, but the long answer, well, it's not even that much longer, really. It doesn't matter what medium you work with. If you draw, you can paint. If you can paint and draw, you can do sculpture. If you have a phone, you can do photography. If you have, um, well, printmaking's a bit difficult. Or like if you crochet, that's art. But like the way to start if you want to do painting, and like you have like $10 to your name, right? Go grab a pencil. You probably have a pencil laying around. And if you're a caveman, what you can do is start a fire, go grab up some coal from it afterwards, and use that. And like it's that well, it's not that simple, but it's relatively that straightforward. Um, but no, I definitely recommend starting with pencil and paper. Easiest way to start. Um, I wish I was working on a new painting because then I could sit here and play on the canvas, but I don't want to ruin this one. Like I kind of do, but I don't. Um, all right. Let me actually put some uh paint. Well, let's say you want to do painting, right? Skip the line of everyone doing the drawings and stuff and the monotony of learning to shade. Um, which, by the way, if you are starting with drawing, here's how you should start, right? Draw a circle and then turn that circle into a sphere. It sounds easy, but it's so not. Look up different shading methods look and play with all of them. Don't just, like go, oh, well, I like this one the best because it looks pretty. No, play with all of them because they all have their own unique way of shading. It's awesome. Um, by the way, if you are one of those kind of people that likes to smudge graphite, I want you to know there are a few art teachers who hate you. Just FYI. um, but yeah, no, like learn shading. Like just learn how to shade first, right? And then what you should do after you kind of learn the basics of like different shading methods, make a scale. Get the absolute darkest possible on one side and then basically have empty space on the opposite end and fill in the gaps. Like just try to make it as smooth as possible and to where like your mid-tone is smack dab in the middle and everything just looks clean. That will go so far on helping with not only just drawing but also painting. Um, Mainly that does help with drawing because with painting you have paints, right? You don't have to fight so much with trying to get a good grayscale. Instead, you just have to figure out colors. Now if you do drawing and stuff, you can get like colored pencils and stuff, and that's a whole ballpark. Not my expertise. Mainly because I actually didn't like painting. I still kind of don't, honestly. And it sounds weird, but like it's because it just when you paint for so long, it just you feel impatient, or at least I do. I feel impatient a lot of the times. Now, let's say you want to do painting, right? There are so many kits out there that are freakishly expensive. You don't need any of them. Like, I recommend finding the cheapest easel, right? This thing is like silly cheap, right? Like, it's honestly, I probably should go grab one of my fancier ones, but this is just the one that fits. And it doesn't like have like these other little cheapo screws that kind of slide every time you push on the canvas. Um, but I will say, for those of you who are like, oh, the art's so pretty, yada yada, how do I get there? This was one of my first paintings I ever hung up on a thing, and it's goofy. Like, come on. But like, I was a child, okay? So this is Larry the Lobster. That's his sombrero, which was supposed to be a boat. um, but like, understand like painting is a process. Learning how to do it is such a process. It is a bore. It is time consuming, and it's fun. Honestly, like when you start painting, don't try to paint a Mona Lisa. Paint a Picasso. If that makes any sense. If you don't know who those people are, Mona Lisa was, I believe, a painting. Was it Leonardo da Vinci? Question mark? I am a terrible art historian. I did get D's in that class. But that being said, um, that's like the Mona Lisa is a very hyper realistic painting of a woman who has this little smirk. It's kind of funny. You probably know it. Hopefully you do. I pray you don't live under that deep of a rock. But anyways, so Picasso, if I remember, he painted shapes. Oh gosh, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Hold on, let me look up Picasso. Oh, please tell me I'm not wrong. Picasso. Oh yeah, yeah. No, he painted a lot of shapes. Okay, fascinating. So Picasso, is this surrealism? Fascinating. Fascinating. Okay, part of me regrets looking that up. Don't paint a Picasso. You can actually paint a Picasso. Screw it. Paint whatever you want, really. But like understand that like starting off, you're mostly just gonna be doing broad colors, like some dark lines here and there to like shape stuff. And that's where drawing also helps a bunch too, especially with painting, because while you're learning to draw, you'll eventually start to understand 3D space a lot better. And once you kind of understand 3D space, you can start using your shading to create objects rather than focusing on line works, right? Um, so like I said earlier, like if you're learning to draw, right, start with a circle and then make it into a sphere, right? Once you sort of get the hang of like shading a ball or shading that circle to look more like a sphere, right, and you give it a little cast shadow, then what you should try to do is without that circle, make a sphere. Like just do shading. Don't worry about like the circle or whatever. Just from that practice, do it without the circle. That's going to help you go so far in art because then you what if you can do that and you do it really well, it goes to show like you understand 3D or three-dimensional spaces, right? In your mind kind of thing. Um Anyways, that being said, if you want to get into painting, but you don't want to spend a buttload of money on all these fancy brushes and like a ton of different colors and stuff, I recommend literally just getting these three. Find a yellow, a red, and a blue. Like these are literally called primary yellow, primary red, primary blue, right? It's the base colors. Like literally, that's all I'm using for this. Well, okay, other than black, white, and then brown. Well, I'll help you understand why I'm using brown, quote unquote. Um, but like, yeah, no, literally just a white, a black. Um, I actually because you end up using a lot, so I ended up getting like this big tub of white. I also ended up getting a big tub of black. I am planning on painting a black and white painting. Ooh, that'd be really good to help teach that. Anywho, um, but like, yeah, you're gonna go through some paint. Don't worry about it. Like, and that's why, like, you go to the artist loft, get you some cheap stuff. If you're ever in an art store, right, and you're looking for the cheapest paint, because there's watercolor. That's a good beginning stuff because they always have like Crayola has all these cute little beginner kits. Um, I never really got into watercolor because it's for me it's challenging because it's blending a bunch of stuff. And blending's interesting with watercolor, and so like I never understood it because I couldn't go back over and fix my mistakes. Whereas like I like acrylic painting. You can do oil, but that's pricey and messy, and I just don't cope. Um, but like the cool part about using acrylic, well, sorry, backtrack. When you get acrylic paint, do not get tempera paint. You will regret it and you will not understand why your stuff looks so weird. um, tempera paint or tempera acrylic paint is a very watered down acrylic. Sort of. Is it even acrylic? I don't want to know. Honestly, I don't. I used to use it because it was the cheapest thing on the shelf and it made decent works, I guess, mainly because like it would just dry out anyways. But when I started using thicker acrylic paints, you can kind of see them. I feel bad because I don't have like a clean slate here. Um, and it's hard to see what's actually on there. But anyway, so I have my brown, my white, my black, blue, red, and yellow, right? That's all you need. You technically don't even need brown, right? And it's actually not even a brown. It's called a burnt umber. Um, And the reason I use burnt umber is to actually replace black. Even though I still use it, um, you can literally paint an entire piece without black. You just use burnt umber. And it's really handy, and it makes your pieces look warmer, and it's really cool. However, I like my pieces to feel a little chilly, so I paint I paint with the black, you know. Um, yeah. Also, another huge thing to think about while doing art, um, learn about symbolism in art. It's just really fun to learn about. It gives you like a whole deeper meaning. Like, and before you dive into symbolism, go look at a painting called the Arnold Feeney Wedding. I don't know how to spell it. I'm sure you don't either. And so if you just put Arnold, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then Feeney, I'm sure any spelling will probably work, and then add wedding to the end of that, and I'm sure you'll find the painting. That painting is chock full of little secrets, and it's so fascinating. Definitely a fun one to dive into. Um, Now, if you're a normal person, probably not. Or if like you're very impatient, I don't know. Maybe you might find it great. But anywho, I need to start actually painting. What was I gonna do? Right, so I need to work on my grass textures. That's what I was doing. Oh goodness, I need to. Oh goodness gracious! I actually have to pull up the actual photo. I don't have it. I I don't have it pulled up for me. I have to grab this thing and then I have to zoom in. Please let me zoom in. There we go. Oh, that's so much better. I was using my Instagram page on the computer to do this. It was a nightmare. So as you can tell, this spot here does not match the actual imagery, and that's fine. I know a lot of people like to hark over the little details, like, oh, the perspective's off, and like this doesn't match, and that doesn't match, and that's, you don't need it to. Once you kind of learn three-dimensional space, it's fine. You can figure it out. You can just play with it. I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna try to, anyways. I don't know if you guys can actually see it, but I'm gonna make a little orange. Should I? You know what? I think that's plenty fine. But I want it to kind of look like grass. So I'm going to come in here and painstakingly dot up this entire area. Yes, that is painting. It is painful. It is annoying. It is time consuming. And it makes me want to cry. But by golly, I'm actually going to add a little bit of white to this to thicken it up. That's another thing too. Acrylics are thin. Like oil paints are very thick, but like acrylics are somewhat water based. So like for some reason yellow is very thin. And so like if you take it and you just smack it on there, it's not gonna want to like be very clear. So adding something like white or maybe a little bit of like another color helps thicken it up a little bit. So then when you put it on, it's a lot more noticeable, and it does go a long way. But it can also affect the actual effect you're going for as well. So keep that in mind. Um, but like, yeah, no. So I'm gonna go into detail about how I started painting and like where did my art career start? And I'll tell you, it was tragic. I think I think the earliest art I ever tried to do was actually tracing, like using tracing paper because a friend of mine had tracing paper and he had these little like I don't know if it was like Pokemon or something. It could have been Pokemon. Um, but I was like I wanted to learn how to draw. I wanted to be able to do it. Um, And like, I don't know if elementary schools still have like their little art classes, and you go in, you sit there and you draw stuff. Um, and I always liked doing it, so I ended up just trying to trace. Um, yeah, and did not like it. It was absolutely silly. I felt goofy doing it. I felt like a cheat. Um, I didn't like because it didn't. It also felt like I didn't know what I was doing even after I had finished tracing something. Like it truly felt like I missed the plot um, when it came down to it. So I stopped. It didn't go far anyways, because like I couldn't get my own tracing paper. So what ended up happening was I would just, oh goodness, that's so much thicker than I thought it was. Oh yeah, another thing about my art style is I don't really mix a lot of paints. I literally just grab a little bit, make one color, da 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 da, and then I'm like, oh, well this is dry. Here, let me make a new batch. And so occasionally I end up with like little variations, um, which honestly helps because it gives it a texture. Like instead of having just one flat color everywhere, you create these variants of yellows and greens and stuff. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's definitely not intentional. Um, but yeah, so like I felt like tracing was cheating, even though like a lot of people were like, "Ah, you're a kid, you're learning, it's fine," and I was like, "Nah, it's not good enough." And it wasn't. It really isn't. It's never good enough. In the art world, it's never good enough. Um, and I don't mean that to be like, oh, tracing's never good. No, no, no. Like when you become an artist, you realize nothing's ever good enough anymore, and it hurts. It's kind of silly. It's kind of goofy, but like that's just how it is. You start looking at your art pieces like it's missing something. Um, which is always a fun time. 'Cause then people in the gallery look at you looking at your own piece like, are you like studying it? It's like, no, no, no. I feel like I should paint in a booger or something, you know? um, but yeah, no. So like when it came down to it, I realized like that was garbage. I didn't know what I was doing. Yada yada yada. So fast forward, I skipped drawing. Well, like I technically didn't. I technically did continue to draw, but how it would go is I saw somebody draw something and then I would try to recreate it. And it worked. Because obviously it was like simple designs, like goofy little characters a child can draw kind of thing. Like box shapes, things like that, learning how to like make something look muscular by just putting in a line or two. Um And so like it started off with like this like crappy little box, right? That kind of resembled a person. Um, and then from there, I stopped trying to draw people, and I started almost drawing like a little cartoon thing. It was kind of like a little challenge where like what I did was I drew a stick figure in a thing on a ledge in a air balloon, just I drew this little stick figure. And then what I challenged myself to do was draw another stick figure trying to kill that stick figure. And it was and it sounds weird and absurd, but like it really helped me create this whole crazy, wild, like Rube Goldberg murder machine. And it sounds so goofy because it was this weird little thing. Oh, I grabbed red. Oh boy, I did not mean to do that. Um, but yeah, so I mean that's kind of how like drawing went for me. I just kind of ran off and did that sort of silly thing, and then I kind of stopped because yeah, it was fun for a while. I did read the Origami Yoda books or the Origami Star Wars books. Fun read, especially if you're a young teenager, or you have a young teenager. It's a blast. They will be using paper um, to make their own little origami Yoda, unless they're just not interested. But like I did. I definitely ran off and made so many little origami dudes. Um, 'Cause they were fun. And like there's even like a game in there where like you take a pencil um and you like create these little scenes or maps or whatever, and you just treat it like you're playing a video game, and it's really cool. So definitely recommend that for young people, or even if you're old and you're just bored and you want to like read something um, Star Wars related. But so that was sort of another thing that kind of like drew me because it was just artistic. Origami is also an art form. It is very fascinating. I cannot for the life of me figure that out without watching 300 tutorials at like -3 speed. um, it's just but so I think after that I started getting into I don't remember. Ooh, fun. So my brother played baseball, and so that left me alone a lot because I also played sports, but I also decided not to. So I quit doing a lot of sports and I kind of just did my own thing. So while my brother was playing baseball, I sat in a dugout with some paint supplies and like the little painting paper stuff. Um I technically had art supplies because my mother had this old art kit which was basically just it's actually called an art box. Was it 2000? It is so funny like having that name, but it's just really silly to me. But anywho, so yeah, it was called like an art box 2000. And she had like some charcoal stuff in there that I still haven't even touched. So it's still in there. I think there was like a makeup brush in there that she was using with the charcoal, and I thought it was so funny. Um, and so like I kind of just played with the brushes. I grabbed a bottle of water, had a little red Solo cup with me. 'Cause that's another thing. You have to have water. I have this cute little stand here. I got it from Michaels, not sponsored. Um, but anyway, you can use it to clean your brush and then hang it up afterwards, which ironically I don't do a lot of. They kind of just sit in there like a normal cup, so it's kind of a waste of money, but it's inspiring for me to be better. Um, but yeah, so like I kind of just hung around these baseball parks and I tried to paint a beach scene. I don't know what it was, but I love drawing water or at least beaches. And I was really bad at it, but it was fun. I honestly had a lot of fun just painting those goofy little beach scenes. And some of them were kind of silly because I went back to just painting in little stick figures. So I think one of them had little avatar stick figures. So that's really funny to think about. But and like so don't be afraid, like especially when you're starting, don't be afraid to make crappy art because it's not it's just art. that's that's the beauty of it. It's all just art at the end of the day. If it looks bad, it looks bad. So what? You don't like it, start a new one or paint over it. That's another thing. Paint like if you don't like a work, like if I wanted to, like if I liked this canvas for its size and shape and I didn't really have another one and this was my least favorite and I didn't want to do anything with it, I would just paint over it. I would completely just paint it white and start over from scratch. Like it is like you literally just buy yourself a canvas or two and just paint over it until you make the perfect painting that you just absolutely can't paint over. And that's kind of how I use all my canvases. I will keep painting stuff, and if I don't like it, or if I don't really know what direction I'm going with it, I'll paint over it. I actually used to paint on planks of wood, boards, that kind of thing. You can, if it's a surface, you can paint on it. Heck, you can paint on your walls unless you don't own it, or your parents might murder you. Don't do that. Um, but like, just when it comes down to getting into art, don't be afraid to just start. It's so important to just try. Like, are you kidding me? I don't even know if this is working or not. Like, in terms of what I'm doing, I'm trying to make these patches look fluffier, kind of like the yellow grass. But, like, I don't know if it's working or not. But I'm going to keep doing it. Because why not? Oh, you know what? I should bring that yellow up to where those ducks are. Okay. They're not ducks, they're geese, but whatever. I'm not a biologist. I think my biology friend might murder me for saying that. But we'll just keep that between us. Right? You guys won't rat me out? um, but I mean, like, this is the most monotonous I've ever been with a painting. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I painted some very monotonous looking things. Particularly a certain president looking like a pig. That was a fun one. It's actually hanging up in a gallery. However, because of the nature of its painting, it is currently sitting in the farthest corner of that gallery behind a wall. So, like, the only way you can actually see it is if you go to the bathroom and then happen to be paying attention enough to look over at it, which is really funny to me. And I do not mind it at all. Oh, it's such a good time. But the fun thing is that I prefer Impressionism. If you don't know what Impressionism is, I highly recommend you think about Vincent van Gogh. If you like Vincent van Gogh, you may also have seen works done by George Seurat. How do you spell that name? Just look up George S. Pointillism. God, these are big words, aren't they? Oh crap, I don't even know how to spell half of these. Anyways, Pointillism, George Seurat. If you just look up Impressionism, you'll see all sorts of stuff. And it's it's not the most hyper realistic art. However, the point of the Impressionistic era was to play with colors and light, right? It wasn't just about like, oh, let's make the most detailed painting and as realistic as possible. Truly, I loved Vincent van Gogh's art not because it was the prettiest or the most realistic, but because it played with light and color so nicely. Uh, and that is my nerding out over. But that's just be what it be. I have done paintings where like a lot of the stuff is smoothed out. I've done paintings where like it's mostly just pointillism. Heck, I've even done printmaking with in the style of pointillism. That's dangerous, by the way. If you're new to art, I highly recommend staying away from printmaking, mainly because it's a little bit pricey because you have to buy linoleum. Actually, I think you can probably just get little linoleum tiles and then carve those up. Don't ask me with printmaking. I don't know anything about it other than just it's complicated. You take a rubber thing and you carve it with a little scoop. Which I have cut my hand. I actually cut this finger open. It has one extra line on the knuckle there. And that's, yeah, I was carving and it just went shoop. And yeah, it hurt. It hurt. Actually, no, it hurt my soul. because seeing a wound that deep, I was like what, 8 maybe 9. Um, the first time I ever played with linoleum, and boy howdy, it was surprising. I was very fortunate enough that somehow my mother knew artists in Jacksonville where I grew up, and it was really helpful that my mom was like, "Hey, you want to go take lessons?" Not really lessons, but she signed me up for this little art thing because I was a little art nerd. Um, and so I did. And so I got to hang out with some very prominent, well, maybe not prominent, but like some pretty uh somewhat well-known artists in Jacksonville. So you can look up Ed Molesky. That's such a, is that his name? Oh no. I just know him by Ed. Annalise DeFeagraph, Marsha Hatcher. Um, I think she actually won an award recently. I don't know. But absolutely love all their works. They do such good stuff. They're great. So I got to hang out with them. I got to carve my own little pen. That's actually where this painting came from. I got to play around with paints and all that. The only thing we didn't do was photography, which I find really funny because later on in life, I actually went to an art school in Jacksonville. It's called Douglas Anderson School of the Arts. Very, very classy. I think the year after I had left, something came up about a pedophile. Yeah. Anywho, thankfully I didn't know him, but I know people who did, and that's sad. Um, so yeah, fun times had by all, I guess. At least when they caught him. um, but yeah, no. So like, I think when I was, cause it was an audition school at the time. So I think I wanted to go for art, but I had music or like singing as sort of a backup kind of thing, which is really funny because I think I'm a terrible singer now. Um, I find that really funny actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, no. So I ended up meeting up with my old or at least so. Oh, was it both or was it just Annalise? Anyways, Annalise literally helped sit me down, and she was like, "Draw this thing." And then she was like, "All right, you done drawing it? All right, let's look at it." You know, and I think that's the best way to do art. Like the And what I mean by, oh, draw this thing, um, look up still lifes if you have time. Look up what a still life is. It's basically just a collection of objects, and you set them in front of you. Maybe you turn on a light to get like a good lighting on it or something, to give it like some good highlights and dark spots. You want contrast, right? You don't want just some muddled gray thing. Um, but what I recommend is literally grab a handful of objects, preferably when you're starting out, not shiny objects. Like, preferably stuff that's just like shapes, right? You like a fuzzy ball, or maybe not like super fuzzy, but like a foam ball or something. And you're just gonna get the shapes and the shading on it, right? And if there's not a lot, maybe then put a light on it. That should help. Um, and you just want to kind of like get the shapes down. Don't worry about messing up those shapes. Just focus on getting them down. Put put the shape onto paper and leave it there. My Annalise actually, she forced me to start drawing with a pen, because she got so tired of me like constantly stopping to erase like half a section. And she's like, "Nope, you're done. Here's a pen. Stop erasing. You can't erase this." Um, and I literally stopped using pencils after that because it genuinely changed how I saw a lot of stuff. Like even when it came down to like doing math, right? My teachers hated me. Like even other students were afraid of me because like I would just do it all in pen, right? Um English teachers are probably super happy to hear that. But like math teachers, no, they demand pencils half the time. But like you do it in pen, oh, it makes them cry. Makes them cry. So if you hate your math teachers, start doing your stuff in pen. Um, what also happens, by the way, when you do math homework or just math in general in pen, you learn really quickly that you need a lot of paper, or you need to learn to write really, really small. Um, which I did both. I I started carrying around just like a ream of copy paper, which surprisingly is not cheap. Um, especially when you accidentally get your backpack wet. Um, but yeah, no, so like I would just start doing all that nonsense. And it genuinely I was better at learning to not erase, especially in math it helps a lot because like you can look back on everything you did and it allows you to kind of go, "Oh, yeah, no, this is what I thought I was doing right. This is how to do it right properly." And because it's pen, it's more permanent and it's harder to like accidentally get rid of. So like smudging it around in your backpack or something or a folder isn't like the death sentence of your works. Um, but I will say it did create a nasty habit of mine where I started to shorthand a lot of things. So like in the math homework, I would skip so many steps and I would jump all over the things. And so like I was surprisingly accurate, but because I didn't show any work, um, because like half of the work was literally just skipped over, um, he couldn't really give me credit. Or at least the teachers, a lot of the teachers I had did not know how to like even help me. Like if I got something wrong, it was just wrong for me. It wasn't like, "Oh, it's wrong. Here's where you went wrong." No, it was like, "Dude, you missed the mark. I don't know how. Good luck, Timmy." Um, and it was usually because I didn't carry something over or I didn't bring over the negative or it was something so minor that like it just slipped because it was just this ADHD ball of fury just trying to get math done. Um, which is surprisingly fun, by the way. Um, but it helped me a lot because I started to mentally slow the fudge down and actually do stuff proper, like a good little noodle. I wasn't a very good noodle. I got in a lot of trouble in school, mainly because I would just blow through whatever we were doing, either because I was not paying attention or because I just I knew it and I got bored and I was like, eh. So then I just couldn't ADHD'd out and then I just did my own thing. Whether it was drawing, doodling, coming up with a new weird sketch doodle thing. I didn't do a lot of sketching, like proper sketches. Like you see like a lot of these kids today, they just have like these little sketchbooks and stuff. No, I have a sketchbook. I don't know where it is. It's like this little like handy book and I got it because I wanted to just have something to carry around with me. I cannot for the life of me. find it anymore. But I did some sketches in there. But it it was a lot of the stuff that I did was very juvenile. It was like the little S thing. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about. Um, but I mean, like that's kind of the thing. It's if you really like art, start by trying to understand it. Start by the basics. Start by learning what shading is, why shading's important. Don't worry about the line work, right? Everyone wants to just, oh, look at the line. Do the No, grab some objects, put them on a table, draw those objects. And when you get bored of drawing those objects, move to a different side of the objects or mix them around, find a different set of objects. And then when you get good at drawing those objects and you get good at shading those objects, draw the table they're on. And when you get good at like doing the cast shadows and understanding how they lay to the point where like you're not even looking at what you're trying to draw anymore, like you understand rudimentary like, oh, this shadow comes out here, it's roughly here, it's like the shadow's like just as tall as this way, so I'll just put it right here kind of thing. Um like you'll start to be able to map stuff out. You'll start to be able to understand what's happening. And that allows you to then go one step further. Like draw the details of the table. Like draw the text. Try to get the texture in there. Try to get like those super contrasty reflections. Get a glass. Oh my goodness. If you literally all you need to do is get one glass mug, cup, whatever, see-through like object that's shiny as all get out, set it on a table and then just shine some light on it. Good luck. Oh my, it is so confusing. And then obviously there's some people like, "Oh, look at me. I'm a little hot shot." It's like, "Yeah, well, Tiffany, not everyone can be a prodigy, okay?" Um But yeah, no, so like it's just start with simple objects. Work your way up, whether it's painting, drawing, sculpture, even photography. Like people don't think about that, but like photography is definitely an odd field of art because it's so overlooked but also heavily appreciated at the same time. Um, like the photo I'm actually painting right now was taken on an old phone that my parents discarded because they upgraded to new fancy stuffs and I broke my phone. So and so like I ended up getting it and so yeah, I mean it was like I don't even know if it was a Samsung, I don't know if it was a Galaxy of some sort. I know it was a Samsung phone. So it was an Android. I just don't know what it was. Um, but I mean, that's kind of the thing. It's like just photography's a good one. It's a good starting point too. Especially like for me, I don't like stealing other people's work. Yes, I have created a few forgeries. Yes, I am proud of my forgeries. They are awesome. Um, but also at the same time, it's like, that's not my passion of art. That's not the things I like to do. Like some of the paintings I did, um, photography's actually really good at helping you create scenes for paintings and things like that. Like one painting I did, it's on my Instagram, which I don't know if you know where it is. Look up Chase HCK. You'll see a sculpture for the profile pic. Maybe. Maybe. um, but essentially, that is like I do a lot of photography. You'll see some of the other works I did. One of the works that's more recent, it's got the Lady Justice sitting there with an agent over her shoulder and like a hand holding a scale, right? Um, it was very half put together, but I didn't know how else to put it together. Um, but creating scenes on a whim can be very difficult. Photography and like especially with Photoshop, it's really awesome to like it's a really easy way to make scenes. Obviously, you have to learn how to like throw stuff together with Photoshop, and that's kind of a nuisance. But like think about it like this, right? You have a background, you have a middle ground, and you have obviously the foreground, right? So in this painting, right, this is the background, right? The little lake here, the tree line, and the sky. Well, actually, technically, the sky is the background. Your middle grounds, because there can be multiple middle grounds, right? This is a middle ground. This is a middle ground. This area is a middle ground. This green patchy grass here is technically a middle ground. And then the foreground is like these grass and the sign, right? That's kind of how that works. Like you separate it into little things. Your landscape, your scene, if you will. That's what this all is. This sign, you could technically see it more as a character or something in the scene, right? And that's kind of how you have to like break down all this stuff and then put them together. So like freehanding your own painting. Oh my goodness, could not be me. At least not right now. I would lose my mind. I have lost my mind actually a couple times. But um drawing from or painting from photos is looked down upon. Not really looked down upon. It's sort of not people don't like it because I don't know why they don't like it. And I think part of it has to do with sometimes art pieces look kind of like flat when you're doing it from a painting, like especially like if you're just kind of like if you're not understanding your scenery, if you're not really like understanding the 3D mapping and stuff, yeah, painting or drawing from an image, it's gonna look extra flat. it just does. And it's kind of funny, not gonna lie. Um, and that's why like when you are doing it from drawing or painting, you have to be very careful about making sure your line work looks good and your shadows match. Like here, I actually had to repaint this black. It was different, but while I was looking at it, I was like, "Hold on, that the lighting on this lake is way off for what I have here." So like, what am I doing here? What I gotta restart. So I did restart. It made me sad, but that's okay. That's fine. Hmm. But yeah, so I mean, like, the reason I wanted to make this, I don't know if I said it or not, so I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back. It's when it comes to making art or getting interested in art, it's not some people say it's gate kept, right? Like people, it's you just have all this tough time and it's not. The biggest problem is people think you need a tablet to do art. No. Grab a pencil, grab some paper. You don't even have to use clean paper. Like grab like this like the like you got a notebook, go grab your old homework assignments or something and then just use that. Um because it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And start with shapes, basic shapes. Like take a box, turn it into a cube. No, I'm sorry. Those are the same thing. Excuse me. Take a square, turn it into a cube. Take a circle, turn it into a sphere. Take a triangle, turn it into a pyramid. Right? Play with those kind of concepts. Draw a dodecahedron. Some of you nerds know what I'm talking about. That was so mean. But screw you, I'm right. Um, I do play the D&Ds and Pathfinder. Um, by the way, if you play D&D, look into Pathfinder. And if you play Pathfinder, hi, nice to meet you. um, but oh goodness, where was I? Oh boy, oh the little dots. But yeah, I mean, like, just, start with simple shapes. Focus on learning to shade. That is such a big detail so many people miss. And, like, yes, line work is important, but as you can tell, where are my lines? I do not work with a lot of them. Like, yeah, you can say this is a line, that's a line. It's not really, because I wasn't drawing a line. I was shading in the sides of the box, and I still got to go back over it and paint. So, like, right here. I gotta come in to try to hide some of that blue. Oh, I'm getting impatient. My hand's doing the twitchy thing. I will say, um, if some people might be interested in learning how to do sculpture, and I'm gonna tell you right now, wowza, right? It is sculpture is one of the ones it's not gate kept. It's just there's a buy-in, right? Because depending on what medium you're working with, it can be very exhausting and pricey. What I recommend doing, start with clay, right? Don't get the fancy polymers. You can, but like they're more annoying to work with, I'd say. Like plasticine, I think it's called. Um, I actually have some. I don't do a lot with it. It's expensive. It doesn't dry out like clay, but you have to heat it up if you want to mold it, right? Um, it's one of those things that's easy to use, but like it's a different ballpark from using actual clay. I personally absolutely adore clay. I love it to pieces. It's so fun to work with. It is an absolute nightmare and a mess. So if you hate if you're a clean freak, I'm so sorry for your loss. Um, you may not like clay. Just saying, FYI. But um, clay's got some problems, right? Because you have to have a way to dry it out. You have to have a way to make it wet. So you're going to need sprayers. You're going to need little sculpting tools, which you can buy a set of like sculpting tools for relatively cheap, but also your tools might be cheap as well. So, it's one of those you get what you pay for kind of things, and that blows. But um I absolutely loved working with clay. I don't know where this guy's YouTube channel went. I tried finding it again because I absolutely loved watching him make bust. He had this one video, and that's actually how I learned to make a bust. So like the picture you see on my Instagram, um, that was the bust that I ended up with. Um, it was covered with a graphite powder mixed with linseed oil, and then like you take a cloth and you polish it essentially. Came out really nicely, not gonna lie. But the problem No, I'm sorry, not a problem. Sorry. Yeah, no, I absolutely love the dude's content. Like he showed me a really cool method where you basically just make a head. It's relatively the right size. Actually, don't even worry about it being relatively the right size. You make an oddly shaped thing that somewhat resembles a head, and then you use your thumbs, find where the eye sockets are, and he just shove his thumbs in there, and then he'd peel back this way. So it created like the little like spots on the so like say this is the eye and then like this is kind of where the eye goes, so you'd have your eyebrow ridge and then you'd have the nose here and it would kind of smooth. I don't know how to do this with my hand, but you get the point, right? Um so there's definitely a lot of videos, but that was the easiest way that I've ever seen anybody. Maybe other people do it still, but like that was so fascinating to me because it was just the quickest way I've ever seen anybody just get straight to the shaping. No measurements, no nothing. Dude just like manhandled that bust, and boy howdy did it look awesome. And I did the same thing, and it came out so great. Um, I think I definitely got some of the proportions wrong. Like I wasn't really good at layering on the high spots, like where the muscles were, like the lips and all that stuff. I still did a pretty good job, but like I could have done a lot better. But it was definitely a blast. Absolutely loved working with clay. Definitely, if you ever get the chance, highly recommend it. Not gonna lie. Um, like you can work with plasticine, you know, don't knock it till you try it, I guess. But like, it's just there's something with working with clay, whether it's like pottery or just making a bust. Um, that's also another thing too. If you're currently struggling with figuring out what you actually want to draw, paint, do an art piece on, right? That's tough. Because the only reason I'm doing this was because there was an art exhibit, um, and the art pieces have to be turned in by August 8th. And the issue is that the only time I ever have inspiration to do an art piece is if I'm trying to tell somebody something. Like if I'm like, mother, if you're watching this, yeah, you can hear it. Why not? Essentially, especially like growing up, it was either because there was a project and I had to, right? Or it was, you know, somebody needing something or other. And so I was like, oh, here, let me do a little art project to commemorate this. And so you'd end up with like these really cool paintings. So for my mother, for example, um, one day I was walking home from school and I saw that somebody around Valentine's Day had discarded a rose. Tragic, I know. However, that rose looked cool as crap. I don't know what it was. It was like dehydrated, it was dying. That poor rose, I know. But for some reason, it just looked really cool. You actually might be able to see it on my Instagram. I have a picture of it. I don't know if I have the painting posted. I don't think I have access to it either. So, you may never see that painting unless I can find a picture of it somewhere. Hopefully I can. I can find that for you guys. But it was a very symbolic piece that I wanted to paint for my mom because especially around that time I loved my mom, but it was a struggle because she had a lot going on and she took it out on us. So, yes, I say us. I have a sibling, a singular sibling. Well, now I have step siblings, but I don't really talk to them, so. But that being said, still a thing. Um, so I mean, yeah, no, like it's for me that piece meant a lot because one, I practiced painting hands. That was a really cool one. I also got to practice painting a rose. Um, Also cool. I always like trying to paint roses. I learned like a little silly trick where you like draw an S and you like two curves and then like you. It's silly, right? Very cartoonish rose, I'd say. Um, but it was nice. It was a neat little thing, and that piece specifically was meant to be a hey, I love you, but I'm wilting. You know, I was on the struggle bus for realsies. Oh goodness, this red is not cooperating. Oh goodness. Did I make a mistake with this? Probably. Am I gonna keep running with it? Absolutely. Cause why not? I can paint over it later if I don't like it. That's why I like acrylic. Um. I really gotta work on that water. Trying to get some brighter oranges in here. Probably need to hit it with some darker spots too. No, I think it's fine. I just need to. You might be able to tell this little orange spot that I'm working on this side of the painting, definitely a lot taller than the actual one. That was an accident. Now, if we learned anything from our superstar Bob Ross, um, we have happy little accidents here, okay? So, bear with me. Um, oh man, I probably should think about downsizing brushes. And this is a really small brush too. I actually want to do a painting, sort of like a challenge painting, if you will, where I basically take one brush and paint a whole piece with it. Um, kind of like a screw you to the people that are like, oh, you need to use all these fancy little brushes and all this other stuff. Literally, I guarantee, I use a handful of brushes. Like, this is like, I don't even use these anymore. I might use this one because it's big enough and it allows me to put a lot of uh paint on the paper. That is it. Like like I might use something like this to put a bunch down or something. And then I'll use something like this to shape stuff. So like I use something like this to kind of shape up that stop sign, which I kind of did poorly on. It is so not crisp. Oh my goodness. Um, and like I don't even know what half these brushes are even supposed. Nobody tells you these things, right? Nobody tells you how to use these brushes. You just kind of figure it out. Um, these smaller brushes that are kind of like little square things, but they're somewhat rounded. I don't even know if they were always round. Maybe I rounded this one by accident. But anyway, these tiny little doodads, right? I don't know why, but they're really good for like blending in paint. So like say like if I wanted to like add highlights, I would use this little brush right here to take white and just blend it into this and kind of blend it downwards to I might do that actually to give it some highlights, and I might re-go over this stop sign. I do need to go back over the letterings though and darken them. Also, you guys like my cursive? that I actually had to go and try to find the actual cursive or like a font that I could actually follow because I could not frickin' read that sign, and so I didn't know what I was painting. Um, so that was a fun one, to be sure. To be sure. Um, oh man. Oh, I hope it's still going. Am I still streaming? I gotta get my second monitor up. This would make this so much easier. Oh, fascinating. It's still going. Yay. Huzzah. But yeah, no, it's definitely. What the hell was I talking about? Oh my, I'm so sorry. I got so sidetracked. Yeah, no, brushes, absolutely. My roommate challenged me to paint a painting with the absolute biggest brush I have. It is like the ones you'd paint a wall with, right? Like think this, but like that much wider. So like, he wanted me to paint an entire painting with that. So I might get crafty, but I definitely want to take him up on that challenge. So stay tuned for that nonsense. I think that's appropriate to call it nonsense at that point. But yeah, no, like think about it like if you are into photography, look up some photography videos. The If you want to learn photography, first learn how to actually use the photography. Don't use it in automatic. Put it in manual mode. Learn how to adjust the ISO, the f-stop, the shutter speed, the those three things actually, the f-stop, ISO, and shutter speed. The f-stop is essentially the little hole. Like it's, eh, look up those three things. You'll understand what I'm talking about. Learn how to operate your camera, learn how to focus, learn how to frame what you're trying to take pictures of. And the absolute most important thing in photography is lighting. I swear it to you. Learn how to get just don't even learn. Just look at something, and if it's not contrasting enough, it's boring. Go find something else. That sounds awful, but like I refuse to do or photograph people for that exact reason because it's just like I don't have the studio lights for it. And so like I can't bring myself to just do that to people. Take mediocre shots. Um but yeah, no, so photography, learn how to operate the camera, learn ISO, shutter speed, and f-stop, and learn contrasting and how to frame your stuff. If you're doing drawing, shading. Oh my goodness. Learn your shading, learn your shapes, shade some shapes, right? Best way to do drawing, best way to start, right? Take a shape, draw that shape, and then try to make it 3D. You can't make a triangle 3D, so turn it into a pyramid. You can't make a square 3D without turning it into a cube, right? Circles, that's different because it's a circle, right? It's a sphere. Um, so have fun, right? Now in painting, painting's different. I don't even think I touched on this. If you want to learn painting, colors. Learn that word, it will be your favorite word for the next 2 seconds. And then you will hate it so deeply. Grab some yellow, grab some red, and grab some blue, and I want you to make a rainbow. And I want it to be the most in depth rainbow you've ever seen. Like, once you get your colors down, you've won. You've won at painting. You've done it. Congratulations. You've outdone everybody in your field. Cause that's literally all this is. It's all just colors and that's it. I mean, like yeah, there's shapes, obviously, but like the shapes don't matter. It's all about the colors. Texture is also important in a painting and composition and things like that. But like at the end of the day, when you're starting out in painting, focus on colors. You want to make a skin tone? Learn how to make a skin tone, right? You don't need brown. the shortcut to make skin tones is use burnt umber and add a ton of white to it to pale it up. Um, but like, if you don't have to have brown to make a skin tone. It might look a little weird, but you might actually get better quality skin color by just using yellow, red, and blue. How high does that camera go? Oh, thank goodness. I had my foot up here, and I was like, oh no, did I just start an OF? But yeah, that is so important. Focus on your colors, make the rainbow. Pick an object, and I want you to try to color match it. It is difficult, but it is so fun and kind of rewarding at the end of the day because holy cow, does it drives you nuts sometimes. I'm actually gonna go ahead and stop adding stuff to this grass. I think the grass is fine. I don't know why I keep adding stuff to it. I feel like I'm just making it worse, but it's fine. I kind of like it. It's really nice, really textured. Yeah. I don't know why I did that, but I should have. I need to add some blank here, maybe. More pale. No, maybe a little yellow. I don't know, but I think that's okay. I might add some like darker tones to it, maybe. Anyways, let's do some lighting on that lake. That has been bothering me. Once I get the lighting on that lake done, I can actually finish this tree and that tree, and I might as well call it done. So, how in the world? You know what? I'm gonna use this one. Why not? I'll use this one. And I'll just take pure white, and I'll show you what I mean by this blending stuff. So like, you have this, right? And then you just rub it in like you're shading with a pencil. And it just creates this little feathering effect, and it's so good. I used it earlier. So there's a cap. I need to mark that. That's a cap. There's a little shorter cap. And then here's a big one, but it's taller than that, so I'll do that. Okay, then there's a little V shape. All the way, what I'm doing right now is I'm taking the tops of these trees and I'm imposing them onto this lake right here. I will worry about the nonsense that follows my reckless behavior later. This is ADHP, for goodness sake. We avoid consequences until we actually have to face them. You're shorter. You are shorter. You're more rounded. Anyway, some of the stuff I'm actually going to have to feather off anyways. But yeah, I have to redesign this lake because it's not gonna match because I don't have the house here. I don't have all the same trees. I decided to make my own. Why? Don't ask. Bad question. You know they say there's no wrong questions or no bad questions. That's a bad question. That's the bad question. Also, by the way, if any artist tries to tell you like, "Oh yeah, my piece is super meaningful," take that with a grain of salt. Because some people like to paint things to just look pretty, and that is literally all it is to some people, and that is a-okay, and there's nothing wrong with it. Um, Not all pieces have meaning. Like this one technically does, but it doesn't. I wanted to paint it, and I'm changing the color scheme of it a little bit to sort of fit a theme that it's going for. But that's literally about it, right? There's no deep meaning. Um, I do like to think a lot of my pieces could be seen as political. I'm keeping this sign in here, and I really like this piece. And the reason I took this photo was because I thought how ironic it was that, of course, a really beautiful picture is just gonna have a big ass sign in it that just says, "Hey, um, you're not allowed to be here." And I love that. I feel like it's poetic. Yeah, a lot of my works did have meaning. A lot of them still do. Um, I like to make things that have meaning to them, like genuine meaning. Not just like a silly insult or, like oh, looky here. Look at this sunset I painted. No, that's like one of the reasons like I kind of like dipped out of painting for like a while too was 'cause like I couldn't find anything to paint. Like I didn't have any inspiration. Um, because to me like painting just a pretty picture it wasn't enough. It was like it felt soulless. So I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And like it's not, obviously it's not soulless. Like if you paint a pretty picture, nothing wrong with it. Props to you. But no, for me that's just not. I didn't want to spend time on something. I truly took after um famous artists who were like, haha, who was it? He was a French painter. What did he paint? He painted something Jupiter eating Saturn or something like that. I think was the name of the piece or something. Um, who was that man? Oh boy, I can't remembers. That's not good. Actually, I'm gonna come in here and clean this up a bit. So the cool part is you can kind of screw with some stuff because this light is hitting it at a different angle. But that being said, you can sort of kind of play around with stuff. So like obviously you can have light coming through here. A little bit coming through here. I really gotta change brushes. This thing does not like holding paint as well as I think it does. It would be nice to use it to feather these though. That's kind of useful. Yeah, I'm gonna choose a different brush. I'm gonna use something that's similar to it, but a little bit longer, so maybe it holds better. That should be nice. Should be useful. Will it? And it does, actually. Yeah, it's nice. Oh, there's a fly. I don't know if I got him. Hope he doesn't get revenge. But yeah, right now all I'm focusing on is painting some silly pictures of tweeze in the silliest of manners. I have to go over all these white spots. Ah, it's not white enough. Yeah, that thickness of paint that I was telling you about, this is what I'm talking about. You're gonna have to go layer by layer. That's another thing too with painting, layering. It's okay to let stuff dry, come back later and add. Sometimes you gotta do stuff while it's wet, sometimes you gotta do stuff while it's dry, and there's no shame in either of it. Just gonna add some little texture spots on this Wawa, cause why not? I'll throw in some little glistening spots that make no sense, cause why not? Why not? I don't care. Who cares? Why not? I'm gonna have to go back over the bushes edges. I'm gonna go ahead and paint some of this so that I can go back over it and it'll look decent. That's another thing too. Don't be worried about like, oh, will this thing cover up this thing? The answer is always yes. Yes, it will cover up that other thing that you spent 10 minutes painting. Be proud. Be proud of that accomplishment. Let me add some blue here. Let me get a nice baby blue going. Oh, well, I had marred the white. Oopsie daisy, but that's okay. Your Honor, I plead oopsie daisy. Oh, I need to bring in some like actual blues into some of these. Yeah. Oh, that's a, what is that? Is it a boat? How did I miss there being an actual frickin' boat in the water? What the heck is wrong with me? How did I miss that? Ollie, 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 oxen free. You and me. I don't know. Can I like get away with it? No, it's creative. Yeah, why not? Fair use. God, that'd be so funny if I got hit with like so much crap because I just decided to mumble out some song lyrics. I'd be livid. I'd be like, seriously, this is the fight you guys want to take? Yeah, but no, number one thing about art too, especially when you're getting into it, experiment. Have fun with it. I guarantee you, you're gonna want to stick with it. You're gonna have a lot more fun with it if you just let yourself be like, you know what? I know it's bad, and I know it's probably gonna make it look awful. But let me just try to paint this using a feather from a porcupine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just have fun with. Actually, don't hurt any porcupines. Please don't. Please don't. Don't try to find feathers on porcupines for your safety and theirs. But yeah, no, like it's like the only reason I figured out how to shade or use this brush was because I was painting the frog painting that's also on my Instagram. I painted that for a friend, and it came out so nicely. And I just had so much fun using this brushing technique with this brush or like these kinds of brushes. And it worked. I don't know why it worked, but it did. And now I do it all the time. Why is it stuck in my head? Alright, how does that one song go by Afro? Oh, what's his name? Afro Man? Oh, please don't sue me, Afro Man. Lemon Pound Cake. Anybody know that song? Oh, man. Ah, it does not help that um the sign covers up so much in the photo. This is part of that thing too, like where it would be so much better to paint this in person because then I could just do it on the fly and not have to worry about it. Like all this stuff that doesn't make sense. But to that I say, boo kaki. I figured this out on my lonesome. Um, oh goodness gracious. Yeah, that's fine, right? Yeah, why not? I do this now. This is my life. Suffering at the hands of this stupid sign. Oh goodness. What did I do here? Oh, that's what I did. Somewhere someone's gonna be like, "Oh, you could have done this." I could have. I could have. I chose not to. Deliberately. Deliberately. I didn't. But I don't care. That's another thing too. I actually ruined so many pieces while I was doing stuff because somebody was like another student was just over my shoulder being like, that doesn't look right. You should do it this way. I guarantee you, don't. Don't listen to those people. If your instructor says, hey, try using this method, try it. Give it a try, right? But like if you just have somebody being like that doesn't look right, like if you're doing a self-portrait and they're like, "Yeah, your jaw's not like that." Or like this isn't right, right? Don't listen to them because it ruins because you spent all that time working on it from your perspective, right? And now you're changing it based on somebody else's perspective, it really does a number. Like, the painting that I was working on looked like garbage. Like, I'd love to redo it, but it was on a loose canvas. Oh wait, no, it was on a board, wasn't it? Yeah, it was on a piece of wood, actually. No, I could probably go back and fix that now. I don't wanna, though. Screw that portrait. I did good with the hair, though. But outside of that, it really just wasn't worth continuing to do. Or can I, like, get some fraying by doing this, maybe? That's awful. Why did I do that? That'll be fine. It'll be fine. You members, remember what I said? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. You members. Hey, hey, you, my boyfriend. Okay, now that I have those, let me go back real quick. Also, by the way, if you're ever painting, I have a habit of wetting some of my brushes by just sticking them in my mouth. They're usually clean, but please, for the goodness gracious of your own sanity, try not to do that. Especially if, like, you're using hand-me-down brushes, or you've been leaving them sitting in a festering cup of water, which I've done. Clean your brushes and then still try not to do it. I'm a hypocrite for saying that, I think. It's just so not good, because you don't know what's in the paint, if, like, especially if you're buying, like, weird sketchy supplies. You never know. One day they're gonna be like, oh yeah, there's, like, toxoplasmosis or some goofy thing. All right, let's see. I have, oh goodness, great. Oh, this lamp is in the way. I think I can manage. Okay, so right below this is a branch that goes here. Okay, and then this goes down this way. I think it converges right here. So this will be the darkest. This is where that tree comes up, right? It's going to create that lovely little hard shadow. Nothing can get through it. So that's why it's the darkest. Oh my god, I remember I had this history report, and I did it on Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night, and it was so funny because I knew that Starry Night had so much meaning behind it, like so if you actually look at the Starry Night, you'll notice the building that's in there, it's a church, right? The tree that's in the painting is this representation that no matter how much we think of ourselves as humans, nature will always outshine us, and nature will always be closer to God. Because back in the day, a lot of people were pretty religious. But do keep in mind, Vincent van Gogh was very mentally unstable. um, Rest his soul. Maybe he wasn't unstable. Maybe he was really seeing aliens or something. I don't know. Maybe that's what the Scream painting was about. But that being said, I always knew him as mentally unstable. But anyway, the reason I brought that up was because for some reason I kept in the report, I was like, and it's blue. And blue means sad. And so for some reason that always stuck with me. And so like I kept saying that over and I got a D on that report, which is really funny. I did recreate the Starry Night though. I don't know if it's still hanging up in that classroom. Um, I've actually had a couple art pieces stolen from me that way. I say stolen. Technically, I gave it to him, but like I didn't give it to him. So there's one. It's a lot of these are on my Instagram. Like even the Starry Night one. The Starry Night one's a low resolution because like I took that picture while it was just hanging up on the wall. But oh, which branch was that? Oh, this is so confusing. One downside to painting trees. It gets very confusing. I love painting them because they're easy to paint. I hate painting them because they're not easy to paint. Do you get what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down? You get it. You get it. You members. Anyways, but yeah, no, so every time I think of blue, I think of me saying that stupid fucking it's really funny. I don't know why. It's really fucking funny. Okay, so many branches. It's almost like I'm painting a tree or something. Good lordy. Could you guys imagine having to paint a tree? Ugh, what a nightmare. It's almost like I should be using a smaller brush or something. Or maybe I should stop panicking and then doing a bunch of broad brush strokes for no freaking reason. Why did I do that? Now I gotta make this wider. I didn't think you can even see that. Anyways, if you do ever get the time and or money, highly recommend. I've only recently gotten these brushes, but they're really fine point brushes. Um, they allowed me to do the calligraphy on there. Game changer, honestly. Didn't never even thought about it before this. Man, I really need to like freaking figure out what I'm doing with these tree branches. Figure it out eventually. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't figure it out eventually. Now that I have a basis, all of these branches. Yeah, that's gonna be a phantom limb from this image. What I mean by phantom limb, I mainly mean like something that's it's here. Obviously, it's not fake. I like it, but it's not from the source material. But it's a byproduct of me trying to copy the source material. That's just my own wording for it. I don't. Maybe there's like a whole other term for it, and somebody's gonna be like, "You silly stupid head," and I'm gonna be like, "Huh, touche." But yeah. So now that I have the skeleton for that tree, that other tree I'm just gonna freehand. It doesn't look like I can make a skeleton out of it. There's also that bush underneath it too. Okay. I'm liking it. I'm digging it. Okay. Julio Fulio. Alright, now what I need to do is get a brush. And I need to make some magic. So this, I love these brushes. I'm going to get it wet. I'm going to kind of rake its bristles a little. The reason I love these brushes is because I can do something really stupid. Also, to make skin tone, by the way, you're going to add yellow, red, and blue, essentially. You're going to get a gray from that, actually. So maybe don't do that entirely. But I mix this up, and I'm going to add a little bit of blue here. That blue is going to mix, and depending on the amounts of color you use, you can get different variations. But I've got this like weird sorry, don't look that up. It's a very ugly color, very unfortunate. But now I can use this big old brush. Oh goodness, I keep knocking back the canvas. Oh boy. To stamp stuff like this all up and down. Which is really awesome because that means I get to be pretty freaking lazy when it comes to painting this, actually. I'm going to do multiple layers. Obviously, you can probably tell. Definitely different from the source material. That's okay. Believe it or not, totally fine. I'm actually going to add a little bit of white. Maybe brighten it up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And then here's where all of these little dark oh no! Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, Kermit the Frog here. Yeah, I panicked. What gives? Anyways, I love this method because it always looks very fascinating. It's such an easy way. I get to take my ADHD out and just have a blast. It does need touch-ups, like right, you can leave as is, but like definitely could use some touch-ups. So like a lot of this, we're actually going to come back over with the black to like hide a lot of this, actually. What just happened? Did you just die? Ugh. Lame. Oh my goodness. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, while I do the cool thing, and I don't have to end stream. I can actually just swap the battery pack. I'm trying to keep everything the same. Turning off the camera, unplugging this, opening my battery pack thingy. Oh my god, I love this little charging set though. Oh my god, it's made everything so much easier. Did it work? Am I still streaming? Did I not screw up all the camera settings? Let me check. It kind of worked. Yeah, it's fine. Let me re-put this battery pack in. Now I've got both batteries charging. Heck yeah! Ah, I love that so much. Okay, back to business. Oh goodness gracious! Oh man, yeah. This is why you follow your pictures, by the way. because it makes this step so much easier. Yes, I am intentionally doing way more than I probably should. That is the process. It's all about layers. Uh, Ogres and onions are not the only thing with layers. Paintings are too. That's right. Shrek is a masterpiece. Oh, goodness. I didn't even think about that till just now. That's right. I am a true art spokesperson, I guess. Jeez. How does that look? I think it looks pretty darn good. Not really. It kind of looks very frilly. But I'm not done yet. I'm actually going to take my really teensy weensy teeny tiny little brush. I'm going to get a vibrant looking orange. Hopefully, if I have enough paints for this still on this palette, because I don't want to drag out more, because I do have some waste product. That just happens. A lot of times I like to do something, so like I'll take another canvas and I'll just add it to it. But I honestly feel like that's even more of a hassle because then I have to take more paint and cover up all that. Like I like starting from a fresh canvas. Alright, we're just gonna come through here and we're just gonna dot this puppy up. Actually, I might add some white to this. It's going to dry out very quickly. I did plan on doing multiple of these paintings. Not this particular scenery, but like doing some other stuff as well. Like sort of a Starry Night Vincent van Gogh impressionist kind of thing. Oh goodness gravy. I'm getting black all over the thing because I didn't let it dry. Yeah, that's another thing too if you're working with acrylics. Yeah, if you don't let stuff dry, it's not gonna dry. Believe it or not, surprisingly, wet stuff stays wet unless you let it dry. Words from the wise. Is that how that saying goes? Word from the wise to the wise? I don't know. You know, I'm really liking this. I know it's kind of like half baked, but like still, I mean, you really don't have to nail your subject. You just gotta make it look like it makes sense, you know? Just make it make sense. That's all people care about. That doesn't make sense. Oh, lordy. Make it make sense. Immediately puts a highlight in such an odd spot. Oh, goodness. I'm a goofy goober. I'm a goofy goober. Yeah. Just gonna do some covering up. Doodle doo doo, cover it up. As Bob Ross once said, if you make a mistake, bury it 6 feet under. That was Bob Ross, right? Yeah? Mr. Ross said that one? I think he said that. Of course he did. Who else would have said it? I'm picturing now. Bob Ross just like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Doodle doo. Doodle doo doo doo. So, if you've joined now, which you probably haven't, but yes, I see. It is Mark. Hi, Mark. Nice of you to join us. No, no, no. Put the drink down. No need for alcohol. Unless you got some for me, too. Now, what's really funny about this is there's nobody watching this stream, I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't think anybody's watching this stream. I can't tell because I don't have YouTube pulled up. But I would find it really funny if there was a Mark who joins the stream at that moment at some point in time. And he's got a drink in his hand. Yeah, and it's alcohol. Let me find. Ah. Oh. How many people are watching? 0. Hell yeah. Probably, I don't know. But that's okay. You know, it really looks good. Alright, now I need to do the other tree. Yes, that's what I was doing. The other tree. Oh, I gotta fix oh, that's what I was working on. All the bushes. The bushels. Can't spell nutrition without nut. Oh, you know what? Oh, the left side of those bushes. This is the part I'm talking about. Understanding what you're actually doing. I need to make the left side of my bushes a darker color. And then keep the right side of the bushes this vibrant, bright yellow. That is how the light is hitting it. So that's fine there. Actually, I'm going to add some little grass bits here. And then I need to make a green. Maybe if I have any wet yellow left. There we are. And I just come in here. It is kind of strange considering. It needs to be a paler green. There we go. Yeah, it's all about layering, right? Start with a base coat of something dark, right? And then just add some highlights. It goes so far. Don't be afraid to get in there. Show 'em who's boss. Now I come in with some of this brown in the backstop. Yoink, yoink. And just bring that edge in. I'm using brown to bring that edge in because it creates sort of a layer. Layers are important. Adds sort of a gradient of this. And then I'm going to come back behind it with black and scooch that in too, so. Now we come in with our black. If I have any left, holy cow. Yoink. I did, I had some left. Not a lot, but some. I'm liking it. Not a lot, but I'm liking it. Man. Adding some cast shadows. I'm gonna come back underneath all this to line this puppy up. Yeah. Feel like that was a good job. I don't know why, but my brain is just imagining cartoon characters talking like Bobby from King of the Hill. I don't know why, but his grandfather's abusing him. Alright. One step closer. Alright, guys, that is it. I'm going to try to go to bed on time. I know, it's crazy. Unspeakable, right? Anywho, I'm going to get some sleep, or at least I'm going to try to, and then hopefully. Yeah, I've been waking up at 4 a.m. for like the past week. I don't know why. I keep waking up at 4 a.m. and it's always for different reasons. Like one day my something hurts on my skin, another day it's like my the pants I was wearing was too tight, and like the other like I think it was yesterday I was just like, man, I like threw off my PJs. Anywho, when it comes to cleanup, please understand pen and paper or like pencil and paper, easiest to clean up, right? You just put the pencil away, you put your paper wherever you want to put it, right? Painting's a bit different, right? You have your wet brushes. Highly recommend you clean them now when you're done. Like if you're still gonna paint tomorrow, clean them now. If you're still gonna do whatever, clean them now. It is so important that you clean them. By golly, it gets annoying. Trust me. Another thing is that like if you're using oil paints and you're not used to oil paints, you need to go watch somebody else's video on oil paints, because you need like a paint thinner, you need all sorts of stuff, because oil paint will harden and it is not like acrylic. It is so much nastier crap. You need special like chemicals to clean your brushes and stuff. Um, and it can be quite toxic too. Like there's a lot of stuff in oil paints. It's like, ugh. That's also like why there's people like throwing soup cans at oil paints. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you can make acrylic out of like recycled plastic. Anywho, um, it's all actually technically the same thing. The only thing that separates oil from acrylic is the fact that like acrylic is sort of like it's basically pigment mixed with like a glue, whereas like oil paints are pigment mixed with like an oil kind of substance. So like that's the only difference. Watercolor is just pigment and you just add water to it, right? That's why it comes in like solid blocks and you add water, you swirl it around. Anywho, um, with acrylics you can honestly let them dry and then you can like chisel off whatever's poking up later, which is kind of neat. It makes for a fun time. Unless you have nothing to chisel it off with, then it makes for a terrifyingly painful time. Um, what you can also do is a napkin and just wipe it up. Just give it a little wipe. Um, if you're like me and you only clean your palette every once in a blue moon, I actually stopped. I actually used to literally take the palette, go to the sink, and start washing it and stuff. And like you can do that. That's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with it. But it is so much of a hassle to do. It is so annoying. I don't much care for it. I think this is awesome to look at, even though it can be very hectic. Um, One other thing too, you don't have to buy a paint palette. I actually have a painting. I'm not gonna show it to you now. Maybe next time while I'm working on this. Um, Maybe I'll use it. I don't know. But anyways, I have this old canvas that I literally would just pour paint onto, and I would mix it around on the canvas. That canvas was my paint palette for like the longest time. So do not be afraid to just grab an old canvas or something and use that. Like it is a-okay. It's quite fun. You get a really cool painting out of it too. So keep that in mind. Also, does anybody have tips on ingrown hairs? Holy crap. I got so many. Anywho, I hope you guys and gals and non-binary pals have a wonderful night. I am going to I'm gonna fall asleep standing. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good one. I hope this, what was it, 2 freaking hours that I've been recording? Oh my goodness. Um, I just realized I could have started a recording. Could I do both? Could I record and stream? I have no clue. Anywho, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. And yeah, it's about 2 hours long. You know what? That's a-okay, I think. I think that's fine. Yeah. Alright. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Take care.